This is a finished project, something that I did started it in 2022, finished it in 2023. It's all earth mortar built, and it was hot mixed. The pointing mortar that I used was hot mixed, containing local sands, and one of them was a building sand with a clay content. It was quite painstaking, because the problem with a clay content and hot mixed mortar is that it's more likely to crack because of the impurities and the fines in it. That was a nice job, because we had a garden designer, all the electricians, plumbers, builders. A colleague of mine called Sam did this. He also did this. And I did this. The apex up there. There's a little bit of lime bleed running down. Apart from that, I think it's coping quite well with the harsh North Yorkshire winters. And we hot mixed mortar all throughout the year. Started it in late May 2022 and finished it. I had a break because I got COVID over winter, and that absolutely knocked me for six. Hence Sam having to come in and do the bit around the shop. I spoke to Nigel Copsey about using hot mix mortar in these harsh conditions throughout winter, and I said, I said, what kind of temperatures do you work down to? And I said, when's the cut-off point? And he said, well, there isn't really one, Mike. He said the harshest was down to -15 overnight, and it was the same with this, -15. So it kind of just brings it home to you that when the building trade in the 16 and 1700s didn't stop just because of a bit of cold weather. There is I remember reading something about hot mixing mortar, and there was a recommendation that if temperatures drop down to -5 during the day, then you should really mix it in a shed. But we found that that mixing indoors creates a tremendous amount of steam, so we simply just stuck with mixing outside. It was that nothing. Nothing happens to a hot mixed mortar when you mix it outside in winter. It just gets a bit, just cools down a bit more quickly. But what we found that was because of the nature of hot mixed mortar, it would adhere just as well in the winter as in the summer, and it would dry pretty quickly. And so what we found, that if anything, rather than having to try and protect from cold, what we were finding was that we were having to do what we do at all times during the year, and that's to protect from cold drying winds. So that's actually the bit where I started and I remember the architect came round, and he did actually pay me a compliment, because he said that it's the best lime mortar pointing that he'd ever seen, and he was a little bit unsure about using hot mix mortar in the middle of winter, and Nigel and I assured him that it was going to be absolutely fine, and it is. You know, it's I myself have never had a problem with non-hydraulic lime in Now Steve, all right? Yeah, I myself have never had a problem with using hot mix mortar in winter. It's just like any kind of mortar, if any kind of lime mortar, if everything's going to be cryogenically frozen, you know, like for days on end, where it just won't get above freezing during the day. You know, will not get above 0 degrees during the day, and every night it's slipping down to sort of like -10, -5, 10 or 15. Then what you've got to do is you've got a double sheet. I myself triple sheet with Hessian, just to protect the mortar, because I know that temperatures aren't going to be sufficiently high to enable it to carbonate the next day. So I usually find that it can sit quite happily under Hessian for it's usually about sort of like 4, maybe 5 days. You know, when you get those cold spells and it just goes right down to absolute, you know, it just looks like a winter wonderland, you know, for days on end, and everything's frosted, and you pull and you know, and then the sun comes out, and you pull your Hessian back, and you just start knocking it back. But anyway, this is Mill Farm in Low Mill. If you want to have a look at it personally, if you're around the North Yorkshire Moors, I keep telling people this is where I work now. Living in County Durham, and at the minute I'm working in Danby, which is about sort of 20 minutes up the road. Anyway, so this is certainly an enduring memory, because we didn't see much but mud in winter. Anyway, I'll leave it with you. Thanks for watching. Cheers.